Good early morning. It is Friday, June 21st, 2013. This is your Island Blader speaking. And a happy first day of summer to all of you out there. This early morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, yes, I'm still awake because I can't sleep. I'd like to discuss what it is being a Jets fan. Okay. When people I know think of the New York Jets, they know me because I'm a huge Jets fan and I love the team and everything else. Now, obviously, as we all know, the Jets had not won a Super Bowl since 1968. The Jets have not been to the Super Bowl in those 44 years also. Okay. Here's the thing about being a Jet fan. I mean, it seems like it's like a life sentence in prison. Now, it's punishment. I mean, it's agonizing, it's torturing, it's just, ugh, please. Now, a lot of us, we've gone through. I mean, listen, I obviously prior to about the mid '90s, I honestly did not see most of those painful moments. I know about them, I know about them from Gastonow's hit on Bernie Kosar in the '86 second round and the divisional round of '86. To Dan Marino's fake spike and, everything else that's, plagued this football team. I mean, I didn't understand what was going on until 1995. When I would go to my grandparents' house and see their house filled with Jet regalia, and of course, when you're 8 years old, you're curious. And so basically, I got hooked. Because when I saw my grandparents, of course, whenever they wore their Jets things, I kind of just followed along. And and that's how, I became a Jet fan. And, and believe it or not, crazy as this sounds, I mean, I guess watching the Jets, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's obvious you're a Jets fan when you realize that, number one, again, those painful moments you've gone through between, winning the Super Bowl in '68 all the way till now, okay? Like I said, the December collapses, the painful playoff losses, trying to feel relevant, a la Tim Tebow. It's crazy. It's crazy being a Jet fan. I mean, it makes you wonder, the Jets were pretty, low key, during, even, Parcells, in between Parcells and Rex. I mean, they were kind of a low key, but gaining respectability. Under the years of like Pennington and, during the Edwards era. I mean, the Jets were like, a respectable team that, no opponent would kind of take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're the Patriots. But, it's just, we get laughed at for many reasons. Okay. Number one, what they've become as of late, which is a clown circus act, a three-ring circus. I mean, from trying to get headlines after headlines, trying to take away, from the Giants and everything else in this town, by, signing guys like Tim Tebow, for his polarizing self and a certain quarterback that was here before Mark Sanchez. I refuse to say his name. And, among everything else. And it's bitten us, those things have bitten us in the butt twice. It's... it's crazy. Once it's the Jets just trying to feel relevant, starting with the owner, Woody Johnson. He doesn't care about the Jets. He doesn't know a darn thing about football. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't know a darn thing. He is probably one of the top maybe 3 reasons why the Jets look so bad. I mean, but it's not just the Jets themselves. It's the fans like us, who invest 3 hours out of our Sundays, or in some cases Monday, to watch these guys play for, to entertain us for 3 hours. And, usually we're being punished. Okay? There's that. There's the fact that we don't play in the state of New York. Okay? We play in our home team plays in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And everyone always calls us the New Jersey Jets. Okay, the Buffalo Bills are technically the one team in the NFL that plays in the state of New York. Okay, that is true. You know, so I mean, okay, so they don't play obviously in the New York metropolitan area because New York City is it's a huge the biggest metropolitan area in the United States. I mean, what more do you want? Plus, I mean, the Giants used to play at Yankee Stadium, the Jets used to play at Shea Stadium. Before that, the Polo Grounds. So when they were the New York Titans. So like there's all of that. There's the fact that we're tenants. Okay. Now, obviously, after Shea Stadium, when the Jets moved to Giants Stadium, I mean, everyone mocked the Jets. Oh, you guys are co-tenants. Y'all don't even have a real home. Blah, blah, blah. Even when we tried to get the West Side Stadium, trying to get it near the Javits Center, Manhattan, and the residents said, heck no. And as my grandmother would say, even you can change the stadium. You can give it a corporate name like MetLife. You can co-share it 50-50, whatever. It will always be Giants Stadium. It will always belong to the Giants, okay? They were there first, okay? They are the dominant team in this town, okay? So, that when everyone thinks of New York football, the first thing they immediately think of is the Giants. And it's the Jets out of desperation trying to feel relevant in this town, when they'll always be in the shadow of the Giants. Okay? So, trying to do this to make a soap opera circus clown act of themselves is the Jets just trying to feel relevant. We're not the little brother anymore. We're not the redheaded stepchild who can't get the prom date, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? And the thing about us Jet fans is that while we are one of the most loyal fan bases among all 32 teams in the NFL, we're also never satisfied. And I know much in part is because we, unless you're a baby boomer or older, we have never, much as we've smelled the Super Bowl, we've never been to the Super Bowl. Okay? We've never been there. We've came close 4 times. 82, 98, 09, and 2010. If you're my age, you've only sniffed it 3 times. I mean, it's like we're never satisfied. Even among those years that it's like you feel like you can walk out with your head held high, it's just is always a negative. Even with fan favorites that we have loved over the years, there's always some sort of negative. I mean, in the 80s, it was Ken O'Brien. It was Ken O'Brien in the 80s. People said, yeah, we booed Ken O'Brien. Despite the good years. We've booed Chad Pennington. We know he had his rotator cuff problems. But look at all that Chad did for us, man. 3 times in 5 years this guy got us to the playoffs. You could say, and even with Sanchez, everyone could, much as he's faced the most scrutiny, obviously, Sanchez has been further than most of these Jet players, over the years, He's been to 2 AFC Championship games. Oh, well, behind a defense and a run attack. I'm sorry. Even if so, I mean, wasn't Mark Sanchez, kick butt during those playoff runs? I mean, really, Not his fault in those 2 chances there. The defense didn't show up to play for 30 minutes. But, I'm not going to think because, the Jet defense is pretty much, they kicked butt. They're an awesome defense. And, when you have a head coach who's defensive minded, that's all said and fine. But, those are some fun times too during the AFC Championship years. I mean, the Jets were the toast of the town. The Giants were out of the picture. And, it felt good. I mean, even the years when the Jets lost those AFC Championship games, I admit I cried. I took it hard, But, it made you proud. I mean, it was frustrating, but again, it made you proud as a fan, It's just like, and I know, and everyone says same old Jets and everything else. So, and then another aspect of what it is being a disaster as a Jet fan is lousy draft picks. Now, there's a video on YouTube of all the big studs that they have passed on over the years and picked talentless losers. Okay. Who is it? I can't remember. They passed on Dan Marino to get O'Brien. Dan Marino was a hot commodity, and they selected Ken O'Brien. They passed on Warren Sapp in the mid-90s. You see the fans chanting, screaming for Warren Sapp. And instead they draft the just wonderful Kyle Brady, where you sit there and you're like, really? Okay? And even Mark Sanchez, the very quarterback, that's slated to start again this year, that many Jet fans have done a complete 180 on. Everyone screamed cheering for him when we picked him. And then this past draft with Geno Smith, everyone was like, are you kidding me? Because, obviously this is before, David Garrard ended up retiring. And now we have the dramatics of that. Okay? So, and also the Jets' loyalty to their players is crap. All right, speaking of. Like I said, after 2010, they unloaded on their personnel and they've become worse every year. So, I mean, and letting the fan favorites get away. Like Jericho Cotchery, Leon Washington, Sean Ellis, Thomas Jones. All the guys that were so vital over the years, and you let them get away. It's like, are you... And now Dustin Keller's another. Revis. I mean, all these guys, man. All these, guys that are key to this football team. And, we let them get away. I mean, I'm not expecting guys to be like, like Curtis Martin or anything else like that. But seriously, it's gotten to a point where it's like... It's agonizing. And obviously, why we're so combative in the end as Jet fans, because we're never happy. We haven't won a Super Bowl. A lot of us, haven't seen the Jets make the Super Bowl. So I mean, for what's that worth, And when an owner, it really helps when your owner just doesn't care. Remember the election last year? Shows how much he cares. He just wants money. The PSL money. And another thing is our fan behavior. Now, I've only been to one Jet game. All right, I'm in church on Sunday. Okay? Obviously, to me, God is obviously more important than football. But I'm kind of glad I don't go to the games. I mean, in a small way. Because I understand that fan behavior is just nuts. Telling fans to showing ladies to show their boobies, and kids that wear Mark Sanchez jerseys and getting stuff thrown at them anyway. Taking Fireman Ed and basically forcing him to resign from his ego, his persona, just because he's wearing a Sanchez jersey. I mean, really? I mean, obviously, you can do whatever you want. I mean, obviously, selling alcohol at the game. Even if you stop it, I mean, fans, they drink before the games when they tailgate. So, I mean, that's not going to stop anything. Okay, but this fan behavior... Now, I mean, it's starting to become something like if you went to Lincoln Financial Field with them Eagle fans. And I know Philadelphia sports... Eagles fans are ridiculous. I know them. But, I mean... for someone like me, it's going to make you think, oh, you're a Jets fan. Oh, man. They're not going to think, But yes, though, I mean, every village has its idiot, obviously. But my grandparents, they said when they went to certain cities, because they've been over the years, they were at a few away games, that certain fans are really good to them. Green Bay, San Francisco, etc. But I mean, it's just, maybe it's a Northeast thing. But I would never want to go to an Eagles game. I'd never want to go to a Patriot game, etc. But it's just gotten, that's just another black mark on us fans here in this town, especially Jet fans. It's the frustration of just not having the title. Despite at times having the pieces to do it, again, and it's always after those good years that, it just becomes a disaster. I think the best back-to-back was obviously 2009 and 2010. But, and obviously a negative they'll find, for example, like a season like 2009, because, the Jets were given a break. Just remember something about, Indianapolis and Cincinnati's so-called laying down. Number one, just remember something. The Jets still had to win those games. And a lot of times, speaking of torture, that the Jets have a golden opportunity to seize the moment on a silver platter. A lot of times they fail. So just remember, they still had to win those games. Okay? Number two, Cincinnati that year. Didn't the Jets still go out and beat their A team the following week in the playoffs? Didn't they do that? I think they did. Just have to go back in the archives to January 9th, 2010. You know, the Jet, like I said, you know, never happy, never satisfied as Jet fans. You know, goes to show you. But I mean, it's a disaster. I'm not gonna lie. It's an absolute monstrosity, painful, agonizing, crazy. You know, rooting for this team. You know, but it's the love and the infatuation that's just gonna keep us going and going. Because, you know, my heart is just with the team. I personally, I can't break away from it because you know why? It's just where it is. And it's where it's been since I was 8 years old. You know? And I could never see myself pulling for anybody else. I just can't do it. You know? I'm a native New Yorker. You know, I was exposed to the Jets, and that's where my heart is always going to be, no matter what. All right? Through the good and the bad. You know, and I've seen it both. I mean, it's not easy. You know, even if I tried to walk away, I just couldn't do it. I can't. I just can't do it. That's personally me. But it seems like a lot of people out there, you know, they're like, oh, it's a joke, forget it. But then they still, you know, I can't. I can't do it. I love this team too much. And, you know, I mean, it's a really, like, awful time to be a fan. It might be worse than the mid-90s during the Kotite years. That's how bad. And I know the media in this town is crazy, but still. It's called being a fan. And, you know, you're supposed to stay loyal no matter what, thick and thin. Thick and thin, you know. Anyway, I've ranted long enough, man. I need some sleep. It's already 2:17 a.m. Wow, and I've been bantering almost 17 minutes. Anyway, with that said, this is your Island Leader speaking for now. You know, deuces. Summertime. Let's go. Let's enjoy that nice weather. All right.